Welcome in, everybody, to True Crime Tuesday. A little bit of a different format today. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. We'll bring in right away our co-host. He is the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Cruiser. How about you?
Doing great. Had a very good weekend. What we're going to do today is we're going to do our Rip from the Headline segment in the first segment.
Oh, yeah. Let's just look at all the bad stuff.
Well, we're not going to take it from that point of view, but every once in a while we like to take a look at what's going on in the world of true crime without necessarily skimming the major headlines. We're going to take a look at some of the things that might have been buried in the headlines that you may or may not have heard of. And then in the second half of the program, of course, dumb crime, stupid criminals. So we'll
make everyone laugh.
That's right. We'll lighten it up a little bit. You know what I'm noticing, Bruiser? As I'm going through some of these stories, and it's a sad reflection of our society. And no, I'm not going to go right to the shootings that are happening around the country, which, by the way, are escalating. I did see a news article last night on television news saying that yes, there is at least one mass shooting per week now.
They said that there's 199 mass shootings, and we're only 183 days into the new year.
Yeah, which is scary. That is scary.
Yeah. It's frustrating because right away everyone wants to say, "Oh, it's gun control. We need to do this. We need to do that." Which, yes, I agree. Gun control, something needs to happen. Change needs to happen. We all know that. But I think we need to start looking at mental health too, and normalizing talking about your mental health is a good thing.
Yes.
If you're angry, that's fine. Talk to somebody. If you're sad, that's fine. Talk to somebody.
Right. And we all need to start working on reaching out to other people and talking to other people about if they feel okay and if there's anything we can do to help. We're not reaching out to each other enough. We're spending too much time dogging each other and trolling each other on social media rather than really finding out if we're all okay.
Yep. Since Jay Briscoe's passed away, I send the guys in that locker room that I considered friends and brothers. Mm-hmm. At least once a week, I try to shoot them a message, say, "Hey," I talk to you every week, even when we're not recording. I'm somewhere else. I'll still shoot you a message, say, "Hey, hope everything's going good."
Yeah, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate that more than you know, because it does. Sometimes we all do get in our heads a little bit too much, and. And sometimes people do tend to take to you on social media, and sometimes you got to crawl away from that for a bit and not get inside your own head sometimes. So I do appreciate it.
Social media is not real.
It isn't. No, it's far from it. So the other thing I'm noticing too, on top of just the aforementioned things that are obvious and the media is reporting on, is the amount of crimes against children.
Really?
Oh my gosh, is it up? Children and the elderly. The amount of crimes against people are committing against their elderly parents.
Oh.
Such as murder, assault is up exponentially. And the amount of crimes that adults, whether it be their own parents or adults that are familiar with these children is going up exponentially. And I don't know why that is.
My guess, and this is just a guess, is we're having children too young. I myself was a teenage parent. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I was only 18 years old when my oldest daughter was born, and if it wasn't for my parents and her mother's parents, we wouldn't have, I would never hurt my child. It's amazing that once a child's born, you look and go, there's that immediate love. And you're just like, I just met you and I will not let anything happen to you,
Yeah.
But I think these kids, they're having kids, they're too young and all this stuff comes crashing in and not everybody has a support system. It's overwhelming,
Yeah.
And they're just handling it the wrong way. They're blaming the child instead of doing the right thing and figuring it out.
And the third thing are crimes against significant others. It seems to me like if there's an issue there, walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away and break up and say enough's enough. Let's just go our separate ways.
Yeah, I took a notice of that after you interviewed the one young lady that was a domestic abuse survivor, and
Was that Kirsten Hathcock?
yeah, where the husband was a fraud and everything, and was, and she left and found out there was a doctor he was scamming and all that. Yeah, like domestic abuse comes in different forms. There is physical, but there's mental too.
Yeah.
And again, I think it just comes down to people don't know how to conversate. My wife and I, when Mrs. Bruiser and I started dating, we had to learn how to fight, like argue.
Yeah, yeah.
That there's not always a winner and a loser. We had to learn compromise. We had to learn fight about what's bugging you. Don't take cheap shots. And
yeah,
and that took us a few years. And I don't know if people are learning that ability.
I don't think so. I don't think they realize that the person you're fighting with is half of you. That's the other thing that they have to realize.
Yeah.
I think they look at it as us against them type of fighting, like you're fighting somebody out in the street.
Yeah.
Not that that's the person that's taking care of you, that person is invested in you. That's hard to, I think, for a lot of people to wrap their head around, is that's the person who has your back no matter what.
Oh yeah, thick or thin. Mrs. Bruiser and I are a tag team for life.
Yeah.
We're the rock to one another. Where we'll pick each other up. I'm Han, she's Leia. I'm Superman, she's Lois.
Yeah.
I'm Batman, she's Selena. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. So there's that, and a lot of people forget that. They lose their head and then they let things escalate and they don't forget to walk away and let it cool down. And I think that I don't know if that is, and I'm not laying this at the feet of parents in America, but there's nobody there. There's not a mentor there that's saying, you know what, son and or daughter, there's a place here where you lay it down and walk away, or you lay it down and let it cool off. There's nobody telling people how to fight. It's how to fight, how to argue. That's what it is, because like I said, we used to be terrible when we fought. We always went for the jugular and, I'm going to win this fight. It's not winning and losing, Right.
Especially with a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think also too is we need to justify, or not justify, but we need to show that not hitting a woman is the right way to go.
Yes.
That you don't put your hands on women, and that you can, if you come from violence, you can break the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It comes down to it though, and it's not easy. And you need to work at it. And a lot of people are scared to put the work in.
Yeah.
I'll share a personal story. When Ring of Honor shut down, I mentally, didn't know how to handle it and went into a depression. And this, I've told you all this and stuff. And, I had to figure out that new norm, and I had to break the cycle because my brother's an addict. My parents are both recovering alcoholics. Well, I could have dealt with it by going back that way,
Sure.
But instead I decided to break the cycle. And that way my kids can see that, and then the cycle becomes normal. And I think, if you come from a background of violence, be the one that stops it. Be the one that changes it.
Absolutely.
And if you're so angry you want to hit somebody, find out why. Why do you want to hit them? What's that going to solve?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And think about the negative consequence. Think about that first before you think of how good it's going to feel to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about how it's going to ruin your life before you think about, before you think about the feeling of what it's going to feel like to get that rage out. Mm-hmm. Because chances are
find a hobby that you can get that rage out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because chances are the negative consequences is what's going to, hem you up and take you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's never a good solution. With that in mind, we get now to Ripped from the Headlines, which I tried to select. I hate being the gatekeeper on this sort of stuff. I tried to take some of the factors away. I tried to take some of the crimes against kids away today. Obviously, we're going to have just issuing a trigger warning here. There may be some crimes against spouses in here. There may be some other crimes in there as well that we'll talk about today. You remember, Bruiser, that Casey White, the corrections officer who...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the inmate who ran away with the corrections official?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were like supposedly dating, and then like I guess he broke up with her or something, and I don't know, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, there was a whole thing. They got away together, only to be caught on the run, and then I'm trying to remember what happened to the corrections official. Didn't he commit suicide?
Yeah, I want to say the inmate committed suicide, and she's still alive.
Well, the inmate actually is still alive and pled guilty to escaping jail. Actually,
Okay, someone committed suicide though. I remember that.
I think it was a corrections official.
Okay.
We'll find out here in the story. We go to Lauderdale County, Alabama, where Casey White, the inmate who escaped from a local jail with a high-level corrections officer, pleaded guilty this week in a surprise deal just days before he was scheduled to go to trial. According to the Times Daily, White entered the plea for first-degree escape, and in return, prosecutors dropped first-degree murder charges in connection with the death of Vicky White.
Okay, so she was okay. I got it backwards. The man was the inmate. The female was the correctional officer. Casey was male. Vicky was female.
Yes. Yep. The Times Daily reported that White faces 20 years to life in prison for the escape charge, but the plea deal stipulates a life sentence. During the plea hearing, Casey White apologized to Vicky White's family and said that Vicky loved her mother very much. Lauderdale County Judge Ben Graves asked Casey White why the two escaped, and he responded, "We were in love and we decided to live life somewhere else, and we thought we could make it. It turns out we couldn't." Although Casey White pleaded guilty to escape, he is still scheduled to stand trial in August for allegedly stabbing a woman to death. Casey White's plea hearing comes exactly 1 year after he and Vicky ran off together. On Friday, April 29th, Vicky White, the assistant director of corrections at the Lauderdale County Jail, told officials she was transporting Casey White to court at 9:30 a.m. The two never returned, and their van was found in a parking lot near the courthouse. The U.S. Marshals said that Vicky White was supposed to retire the day she and Casey White escaped. A nationwide manhunt ensued for the two, and officials eventually located them in Evansville, Indiana on May 9th. U.S. Marshals got into a vehicle pursuit with the pair, and marshals collided with their Cadillac in an attempt to end the chase. The Cadillac flipped, and Vicky White shot herself before she could get arrested. So that's where the suicide came in.
Yeah.
On that case.
It was a bizarre case. You know there's going to be a movie and books written about it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And, well, especially when this wraps up with Casey's charges as well. Let's move on. We'll go to, I believe we're going to Phoenix, Arizona. Police arrest a man accused of fatally stabbing a Phoenix hiker 15 times.
That's a lot of times.
That is a lot of times.
That's some rage.
That is some rage, or just plain lunacy, if you want to put it that way. Police have arrested a 22-year-old man in connection with the death of a hiker who was found with trauma to her body last weekend. On Saturday, April 29th, Phoenix police responded to a report of an injured individual in a desert area near 6500 East Libby Street. The victim, later identified as, I believe it's Lauren Heike, was pronounced dead at the scene. Phoenix Police Lieutenant James Hester spoke at a press conference on Friday, May 5th, and shared some more details about Heike's killing. Hester believes Heike was hiking in North Phoenix when the suspect, Zion Teasley, allegedly followed her onto the trail and brutally attacked her from behind with a bladed object. Hester said Heike tried to fight off the attacker and flee. Her injuries were too severe, however. Heike sustained 15 stab wounds, according to KSAZ-TV. According to KSAZ, some of Heike's belongings were found along the trail, and investigators believe she was chased over a barbed wire fence due to the state of her clothes. Authorities reportedly found Teasley's DNA on her shoe. On May 2nd, police posted a short video that showed a person of interest, and they collected several items of evidence and hours of video. They were able to develop a forensic profile and used additional images, DNA, and cell phone evidence to identify Teasley as the primary suspect. Hester says Teasley was arrested at an apartment on May 4th at approximately 6 p.m. He was booked into the Maricopa County Jail on charges of homicide, and probation violation. According to KSAZ, Teasley had been fired from his job recently due to his aggressive behavior toward female employees, and he was accused of stealing products as well. His former employer reportedly identified him in surveillance video, and he said he was wearing clothes stolen from their store. This
is a screwed up kid.
He's got issues.
This is a serial killer in the making right here.
Yeah, and indeed. Teasley allegedly carried a 3-inch blade pocket knife with him, which is consistent with Heike's wounds. During an interview, Teasley told police that he is a Christian. Well, I find that hard to believe, and struggles with his sexuality. He reportedly said he recognized Heike, but couldn't explicitly say she was killed or that he had met her. According to KSAZ, when asked if he planned to kill Heike, Teasley said, "I am definitely not the person who plans to kill another person." He added, "If I was going to do something like that, it wouldn't be premeditated." He's trying to avoid the chair.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's trying to say it was something else so he doesn't get the chair.
That's right. Police did not release a motive. Prior to Heike's death, Teasley was in prison from July of 2001 to November of 2022 for armed robbery, burglary, aggravated assault, and kidnapping. So he does have priors.
Well, it's good they caught him. That's definitely signs of a serial killer right there.
Yep, he was working on a portfolio, put it that way. Let's move on. This story is just as bizarre, Bruiser. A man is accused of biting a woman's face with intent to permanently disfigure her.
Oh, there's other ways to do that, man.
Yeah, we go to Harrison County, West Virginia, where West Virginia State Police troopers arrested a 23-year-old man they allege bit a woman's face during an argument, causing her to bleed profusely.
How do you get that close in an argument? You know what I mean?
Now, see, this, we were talking about fighting earlier.
Yeah.
So I've got to think that the two know each other intimately. We'll find out here in a second. According to court documents cited by WBOY-TV, that's W-Boy for those of you who aren't quick on spelling, troopers responded to a call Tuesday, April 25th, regarding a dispute at a home in Harrison County. Troopers arrived and found a female victim bleeding from her face. She reportedly told state police that Andrew Kozad had bit her in the bottom lip and inner gum area during a domestic dispute. The victim, who was not named, reportedly had open wounds on her lips and gums that were still bleeding by the time troopers got to her home. She also had some blood on her shirt. West Virginia State Police troopers alleged in the criminal complaint that Kozad intended to permanently disfigure the victim by purposefully causing deep wounds to her facial area. Kozad allegedly initially put his hands around the victim's neck, but a witness to the incident prevented him from strangling her. Troopers arrested Kozad on a charge of malicious wounding. West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation records show he was booked May 2nd and is being held on how much bond, Bruiser, for this?
$10,000.
Try one more time, my friend.
This is West Virginia?
Yes.
I don't know if I want to go higher or lower. I'm gonna go lower to $5,500.
One more time.
$2,350.
$5,000 bond. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. For that heinous a crime, only $5,000 bond.
How come they didn't throw attempted murder on there if he had her by the neck? I'd assume that means he was strangling her. Then a witness stopped it.
I would have.
So, and then they lived, I'm assuming because it's a domestic partner, they have to live together.
It's a charge of malicious wounding. Wouldn't you go for at least manslaughter?
Yeah.
Or, no, you're right, attempted murder. It wouldn't be manslaughter because he didn't do anything. He didn't kill her, but...
it'd be like second-degree attempted murder or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you can throw all of them on there,
Yeah, I mean, you can compound things. You can... But just malicious wounding. I mean, obviously there was malice involved, right?
Right. But they're overlooking the fact that he initially was trying to choke her.
Right.
He went and said, okay, I can't kill you because this person's here, but I can make sure you never forget me type thing.
Unless the witness is saying, well, I refuse to come forward and tell you anything about it.
That could be. They don't have enough evidence.
Yeah.
That his hands are on her throat, and if the witness won't say it.
Right.
That's crazy, though. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Earlier, again, I was telling you about people doing things to their parents.
Yeah.
Fighting with parents, fighting with elders. A man in Hawaii is accused of killing his mother-in-law with a sword.
A sword?
A sword.
This is 1694.
Right. It's a feudal conflict, I guess. We go to Kea'au, Hawaii, where a 52-year-old man faces a murder charge after he allegedly killed his mother-in-law with a sword in a violent attack.
This doesn't make any sense. She had to be quite old too. If he was 52, I'm assuming his wife's around the same age, so she's got to be in her 70s.
At least. According to the Hawaii Police Department, on Friday, April 28th, officers responded to a disturbance call at a home on 38th Avenue in Orchardland Estates and found Christopher Howland in need of medical assistance. He reportedly had blood all over his clothes and injuries to his hands. Police also found this is a quote, large sword covered in blood next to him. Officers requested an ambulance for Howland. As they waited, they discovered 58-year-old Terry Lynn Apple, only 58 years old. So his wife must be younger.
Yeah, she must be real younger.
Yep. She was deceased with knife wounds to her neck, hands, and body. Police subsequently arrested Howland on suspicion of murder. Hawaii police said Howland began vomiting inside the ambulance and became unresponsive. He was admitted to Hilo Medical Center, and officials believe ingested some type of chemical liquid prior to police arriving on the scene.
He's trying to kill himself.
Yeah, so he must have killed the mother-in-law and then tried to off himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably an argument that got out of hand. He got angry, stabbed her a bunch of times, and then realized, she's dying.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink this Drano.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. He was released from the hospital April 30th, but Hawaii police did not detain him due to his condition at the time of his arrest. Detectives, however, obtained an arrest warrant and took him into custody on May 4th. A forensic pathologist conducted an autopsy on May 2nd and determined that Apple died from multiple chop wounds and sharp forced injuries.
Oh, so he didn't just stab her.
No.
He hacked at her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, violent death. Her death, of course, was ruled a homicide. The Hawaii County District Attorney's Office is charging Howland with second-degree murder. His bail was how much in Hawaii, as opposed to West Virginia?
I want to say $50,000.
I'll give you another swipe at it.
$250,000.
One more time.
$90,000.
Hawaii at least has the good sense of putting his bail at $1 million.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, don't take after your mother-in-law with a sword in Hawaii. You definitely will have a higher bond, that's for sure. I tell you what, folks, we'll do one more story here, and then we'll read a letter. Remember I asked for requests for I Met a Murderer?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one of those letters. I'll read that here before the break, and then when we come back, we'll have more rips from the headlines. There's another disturbing thing happening out there, Bruiser, and that is that of people not respecting other people's rights.
Oh, yeah, but that's been going on for years.
Yeah, although it's getting more disturbing in that people just, rather than not respecting people's rights, they're flat out doing something about it, and they're attacking people's, rather than just graffiti on the outside of their buildings, they're burning them down. They're destroying property. They're doing alarming things rather than just accepting people for who they are. And this one takes place right here in good old Minnesota.
What are you guys up to? You got the Chinese police up there. What else you got?
Yes, we have the Chinese police lurking around the corner. This Minnesota man was indicted on federal charges after allegedly setting fire to 2 mosques. Yeah. The U.S. Attorney's Office announced this week that a 36-year-old man was federally charged after setting fire to 2 mosques in the Twin Cities. According to the complaint, in late December of 2022, a suspect sent a U.S. representative an email of a male urinating on a Koran and an image of a bloody ear. Although the complaint crossed out the representative's name, KARE-TV reports that the emails were sent to Minnesota U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar. Several days later, on January 5th, the complaint alleged the suspect, Jackie Raum Little, shoplifted or tried to shoplift spray paint from a Target in Minneapolis. Why not get it from Target? That's where we get everything else in Minneapolis.
That's because Target owns Minnesota.
That's right.
Minnesota, sponsored by Target.
That's right. Either Target or Walmart, one or the other. The incident was reportedly captured on surveillance video, and Little was seen wearing a bright yellow jacket, green pants, red shoes, glasses, and a yellow face mask. He stood out like a clown.
He's not trying to hide his identity at all.
No. The complaint...
He's like, hey, how do I make myself glow?
Well, think about it. A yellow jacket, green pants, red shoes, glasses, and a yellow face mask. He dressed up like a stoplight. People probably parked their car in front of him. I mean, come on. The complaint alleged he walked with an unusual gait with his left arm swinging wildly.
Because he's a G. I'm a G.
I'm a G, dressed up like you're a friendly neighborhood stoplight.
They call me Highlighter. What's your name?
Highlighter, yes. Little then allegedly went to Omar's office at around noon and spray painted 500 on her front door. The complaint says the significance of 500 is unclear. At approximately 9:10 p.m., investigators say Little spray painted 500 at a marketplace referred to as the Somali Mall on East 24th Street. On January 7th, someone allegedly emailed Omar an image that was titled "Ready for Rush" with the N-word .png. Yeah. And on March... I'm sorry, what?
It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And on March 6th, Omar was sent another email with a picture of the 500 painted on her door. Little allegedly started a fire in the bathroom of the, I believe it is the Masjid Omar Islamic Center on East 24th Street on April 23rd, which is in the same building as the Somali Mall. Little reportedly entered the bathroom on the second floor and lit a cardboard box on fire. An employee reportedly caught and chased Little out of the building at that time. The next day at around 7 p.m., a volunteer security guard reportedly noticed a fire at the Masjid al-Rahma Mosque on Bloomington Avenue, and everyone in the building, including 40 children, evacuated. 40 children, Bruiser, were in there at the time.
That's the thing is people that are like that don't think about the youth, you know? Well, you don't have to, we all don't have to like each other. You know, we can all... We don't have to agree with one another, but we do have to live together. Mm-hmm. And if it bugs you, whatever's bugging you, say something to them if they need to change something. If it's a statue in their yard, whatever, you know what I mean? If they're doing something that bugs you, have a conversation, say it, or just ignore it. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter what religion you are, what sex you are, who you have sex with. That's all. That just makes a person. And if you don't like that, don't interact with them. Walk away. We shouldn't be telling each other the way of that it has to be. Tim, you can't like this person because of this, because I said so. You know, it needs to be just we just got to get along. You know, we don't have to like each other. It's not going to be like you don't argue with people because you're going to. Mm-hmm. But going to this length, destroying property, putting innocent lives at risk, you know, because these children, if it's the religion you have a problem with, they were born into it. They're learning about it. I'm sure they'll make a decision later in life. We all have battle of faith. everybody, no matter what religion you are. Why harm them?
Well, they're completely innocent in the deal. And like Dr. Ali told us when she was on a few weeks ago, when it comes to the Muslim religion, a lot of times at a mosque or at a school, at a Muslim school, what they do is they allow for people to stay over, because especially during Ramadan and in certain holy times, they allow people who are fasting to stay over, to rest, to refresh, to do whatever, especially if classes are going on. So you may go to a Muslim school and take classes, and you're allowed to rest, refresh, get sleep, do whatever during holy seasons. So depending on when this happened, you may have kids there for classes. You may have people there sleeping. You may have people praying. You may have people doing whatever at this particular mosque. And you never know who's inside.
Right.
So, the fact that there were 40 children at the time that this guy attacked, is just frightening.
Yeah, he doesn't have to like them, but don't have to harm them. They're not in your way.
That's right.
They're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
If they're doing something illegal, report it.
Yeah. As a result, the complaint said the third floor hallway sustained significant damage. A representative of the mosque said the damages totaled tens of thousands of dollars. According to the complaint, officials interviewed Little's mother on April 27th, and she said Little harassed a Muslim female while he was living in transitional housing, and she reported some of his behavior. The mother reportedly said Little also had a fascination with fire at a young age, and she strongly believed Little was involved with the arsons. The complaint said Little's mother was shown surveillance video of the graffiti and arson incidents, and she recognized Little in each photo.
Yep.
So his own mother turned him in. Little has a criminal history that includes suspected arson and domestic assault. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Minnesota announced on Thursday, May 4th, that Little was indicted on one count of arson and one count of damage to religious property. So there you go. I tell you what, folks, let's give you this letter that we got from Mark. Let me pull this up here. Mark has met a murderer. Now, let me tell you, if you have one of these, or rather, I knew a murderer. If you have a I knew a murderer letter for us, just send it to tim@darknessradio.com. We want to know if you've ever known a murderer or happened to have met a murderer in passing. And if you have this brush with creepiness, so to speak. So if you do, send an email along, tim@darknessradio.com. Mark says, hey guys, this week I decided to take a break from sending in Parashare stories and instead send one in for I Knew a Murderer because, well, I did unfortunately. This story isn't so much intriguing as it is sad. It started back in the fifth grade for me when I first moved to town. I didn't really know anyone, but soon met a kid in my class who I referred to as S. We became friends for the duration of that school year and developed a bit of competitiveness between us. We even shared the same birthday, him being born just a few hours before me. The next school year, we didn't really associate too much. I had a few classes with him, but that was about it. I did, however, start noticing troubling things about him. One of which being that I caught him on several occasions drawing elaborate drawings on his notebook depicting machines designed for the dismemberment of human bodies.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Now, this is a little disturbing, Bruiser. He titled them Hitler's Jew Slaughterhouse.
Oh.
Yeah. That's disturbing.
That's very disturbing.
He also destroyed some property belonging to my English teacher and blamed me for it. Oh, Mark, that's not good.
No.
One day after school, we got into a fight where I threw him into a snowbank and I made him cry and run to the bus. Well, I don't blame you. Not at all. The following year, we went to different schools and I forgot all about him until the day I learned he was now dating my oldest sister. Oh, God.
I'd panic. I would panic.
Yeah. That didn't sit too well with me. We don't blame you. But I was a teen and I had my own life to live. They dated for a while, but eventually split up, which I gotta think you probably cracked a beer at that early age and toasted the heavens.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Well, not dead, but gone.
Right, exactly. Meanwhile, I had been talking to a girl who I knew a little because our parents went to the same church. She would call me and flirt a little bit. There you go, buddy. And then one night she asked me to meet her at her house at a house party. And I decided I would make an appearance. Ooh, things are going well.
Yeah.
When I got there, she met me in the entryway wearing a thin white T-shirt that, let's just say, she really filled out.
There you go. See?
Yeah. I never made it out of the entryway. Only a few minutes after arriving, I heard the door behind me open and in walked, of all people, her dad.
That's karma right there. Or not karma, but that's the universe saying, now's not the time.
Yeah, damn. Hello, Mark, were his words to me. Oh, hi, I said. He told his daughter that they were leaving, and with that, I was alone in a strange house where I knew no one. Needless to say, I didn't hang around. I never really talked to that girl much again, but I later learned that she and S had married and moved to South Carolina with 2 kids.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That I thought was the end of the story. A few years later, I learned that she was back in town and decided to meet for a drink and talk. I learned that S had become abusive to her and the kids, going so far as to what would be considered torture. Yikes. One night, he had gone too far and killed her youngest son.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. She had taken her remaining son and fled back home to escape him. I immediately thought of how, if my sister hadn't smartened up, that could have been my nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah. S was essentially and eventually sentenced to only around 4 years.
That's it?
That's it. She had told me that S's dad was friends with the judge and worked out a good deal.
Oh.
He is currently a free man and lives near Fargo, North Dakota.
Like as of right now?
Yeah. Oh, that doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, Tim, you got to get out of there.
Ironically, around 15 years later, I got a job at a local restaurant where I worked with a young man who told me when he was a kid, he witnessed his dad killed his younger brother. I asked his dad's name, and you guessed it, it was S. He said that he said that seeing his brother lie there motionless had messed him up to this day.
Oh, I believe it. That's trauma.
Yeah. Justice can be a hard thing to achieve in this world, but for those who crave a little, I will end with this story. Around the time that S was dating my sister, I went for a drive one night in my dad's old van with a few friends. I was in the passenger seat, and the guy driving, as well as another passenger, were black kids. I had told them about S and all of his racial biases and how he was even caught scratching swastikas into the stall in the school bathroom. As luck would have it, we were driving down the country road that led to town from S's house. A car passed us and started flashing its lights at us. I said, "Oh, it's S. He must have seen the van and thought it was my sister driving to his house." The driver immediately pulled over. You should have seen the look on S's face when he walked up to the driver's window. It was priceless. He never saw it coming. Boom, a fist right to his chin. He ran back to the car his friend was driving, where they both took a bit of a beating before they sped away. Sorry, that's as good of an ending as I have, but that's my story of the murderer in my life.
Oh, that's creepy.
That's a pretty good one. He signs it Marky Mark. Well, Marky Mark, that's creepy.
Keep them coming. Yeah, that's creepy. Keep them coming.
That's creepy. So if you knew a murderer and you have a story, send it along. Tim@darknessradio.com. Interesting stuff. I tell you what, when we come back, we've got more ripped from the headlines, including, I told you quite a few weeks ago, Bruiser, the last time we did Rip from the Headlines, that we had these different celebrity trials, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had the Johnny Depp trial. We had, what's her name? The Goop founder.
Oh, yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's right. She was doing the ski trial, which she evidently won. And I told you a little bit about Pras Michelle from the I almost said the Goonies, from the Fugees. And Pras, believe it or not, was found guilty in his trial.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what he was found guilty of and what people are saying about him that he's now denying. He's now denying that he was a narc for the government, which will kill your career as a rapper in a minute.
Yeah, look at the, was it 619, whatever, Skittles 619, the crazy haired, crazy teeth, face tatted kid that turned and knocked everyone out.
Tekashi 69, who, by the way, got beaten down in a health club a few weeks ago. Yep. And he's still not living down his life.
Nope.
Pras was at one point outed as a government informant, which he denies. He says he wasn't.
Well, he's going to deny it till the day he dies.
But he's also been found guilty of something which is going to turn your head. We'll tell you what it is here at the end of Ripped from the Headlines. It's Ripped from the Headlines and Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals today on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Your co-host is right over there. He's the BCB, the big cuddly bear himself, Beer City Bruiser.
Hi.
Hi there. We have interesting stories for the second half of Ripped from the Headlines here, Bruiser. The first one has to do with two teens that were arrested for allegedly shooting and killing a Baltimore T-Mobile employee during a robbery.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to do that.
First of all, they have such good deals in T-Mobile. I don't know why you would. I mean, they give you the store for free when you walk in there.
There's so many good cell phone stuff out there now too.
I know. I mean, you walk in and it's like, hey, you want to take an iPhone with you while you're at it? Here's a watch. We'll put everything on a payment plan for you. By the way, you can put all four of your up to four on a family plan for almost nothing.
I watched a video the other day of these four guys go to rob a Verizon store, and they get caught. The cops come, they get caught, yada, yada, yada. But the employee goes, I was afraid for my life because they broke in at opening. We don't have anything in the safe because we always do a night drop. He goes, the best thing I could offer them is a free phone plan that comes with any phone of their choice.
I think I'd take it.
But I'm just like, why rob a, like these guys are robbing a T-Mobile store. What are you going to get? You want the newest iPhone? Like, come on.
Well, tablets. I mean, phone stores now carry watches, tablets, phones, and a lot of them are unlocked until they're assigned. Okay. So, I mean, it is, if you can get a hold of them, and they carry a decent amount of stock. They're not a lot of them, but enough where you can carry them out on your own.
But can't they track all that stuff?
Yes, that's the thing. People aren't very smart that are robbing these stores because it's all trackable. Okay. So yeah, it's not the smartest crime in the world. It's not like going into your Sam Goody and picking up a Tupac CD and walking out. No. But the other thing too is that they can try and fence it for quick cash. That's the other thing. They try to, at least, but yeah, it's hard to do. It's very hard to do. We go to Baltimore, where police announced the arrest of two teens suspected of fatally shooting a 23-year-old T-Mobile employee during an armed robbery last week. On Sunday, April 30th at approximately 4:30 p.m., Baltimore Police Department officers responded to a robbery at the cell phone store on the 2500 block of Boston Street and found an employee suffering from a gunshot wound. Medics transported the victim, later identified as Fabian Sanchez Gonzalez, to Johns Hopkins Hospital, where he died 2 days later. Detectives in Baltimore's Southeast Division identified two suspects in the shooting, and on May 4th, officials from the Warrant Task Force arrested 18-year-old Arthur McCaden on suspicion of murder. Baltimore police announced that on the same day they also arrested a 14-year-old for first-degree murder. 14 years old. 14. Yeah. That kid's life's over. It is. Both of them. I mean, 18, you're still young. Yeah. 14, you're done. Yeah, that's it. If he's tried as an adult, which they will. Yeah, exactly. Police said they are not looking for any other suspects in this case. Gonzalez's brother, Julio Contreras Gonzalez, told WJZ-TV, I'm glad to hear that there is a suspect and that there's been an arrest made because that's what we want. We want justice. His mother said in an interview with WJZ, they ruined my family. He didn't deserve to die like this. I'm asking for justice for my son. I believe in justice. I know these people who did this to us don't deserve to be free. She added, they took him in the worst way possible.
It's sad.
Yeah. And what's even more sad is they did a stupid thing at a young age, and they're going to pay for the rest of their life with it.
Yep. Yeah. They're going to come to at some point in time and go, oh, I screwed up.
Yeah. This next
and not only that, but they changed the lives of so many people.
True. Very true. This next story is about as grisly as it gets as well. Again, we're talking about just random violence that happens in this country. A Missouri man is accused of leaving a missing woman in a cage and dismembering her. He's just got life without parole in this case.
Okay.
We go to Dallas County, Missouri. A judge has sentenced a 60-year-old man to life in prison last week for his purported connection to the disappearance, death, and dismemberment of a missing 33-year-old woman last seen in July of 2021. Court records show that James Phelps entered an Alford plea Friday, April 28th for first-degree murder in connection with the death of Cassidy Rainwater. As a result of the plea, he was sentenced to life without parole. The Alford plea means Phelps acknowledges he would be found guilty during a trial, but he maintains his innocence. Court records also indicated prosecutors were seeking the death penalty if Phelps went to trial and was convicted. Phelps' alleged co-conspirator, Timothy Norton, is still awaiting trial on charges of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and abandonment of a corpse. Rainwater was last seen on July 25th, 2021, and the Dallas County Sheriff's Office said Phelps was likely the last person to see her alive. Phelps initially told investigators Rainwater stayed with him for several weeks until she got back on her feet, but then she met a vehicle at the end of the driveway and left in the middle of the night. On September 16th, 2021, the FBI received a photo tip showing Rainwater in a cage and bound to a gantry crane, which the sheriff's office said is used primarily for deer processing. Oh, my God.
How'd they get the photo, I wonder?
I don't know.
Hopefully that covers it.
Detectives obtained a warrant to search Phelps' home and found items in the backyard that coincided with the photos. Detectives looked over the property for several days and eventually discovered a freezer with apparent human flesh inside of it with 724 written on it, which coincided with Rainwater's last day alive. The Dallas County Sheriff's Office said detectives located Rainwater's remains on a nearby property. On September 20th, Norton told FBI agents he held Rainwater down while Phelps put a bag over her head and strangled her. Then the two men allegedly took her body outside, tied her to the crane, and dismembered her. In October, Phelps's house burned down, and officials said it was arson. KOLR-TV reported that.
So I'm wondering if they were stupid taking pictures and posted it online.
I'm thinking for some sort of shock site. They might have done that. Yeah. And that's how the photo tip got out.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that... no, you know what? I won't say unfortunate. It's fortunate that sometimes those criminals have that vanity.
Yeah, because that's usually 9 times out of 10 how they get caught.
Yeah, that's their undoing. Yeah.
There's I just heard a story about a guy who killed over 20 women, and the reason he got caught was because the reporter that reported on him gave out a piece on one of his victims and how great of a person it was. So he sent a map to the police, and the police just went to Expedia, found out where the map came from, went to his house.
Jeez. Well, I suppose it's fortunate that criminals aren't a smart lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the good thing about it.
Well, BTK got caught because of computer stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
What I don't like is he pleaded to get out of the death sentence. That's why. It's the only reason he pleaded the way he did.
Well, he's cowardly on top of that.
I mean, he's afraid to face, face the consequences.
That's why he did the Alford plea. I mean, I shouldn't say that every person who does the Alford plea is guilty. I mean, we had the case a few weeks ago here on True Crime Tuesday when we were talking about the owl attack, with the owl attack where...
Oh, yeah, the stairs guy.
Yeah, and he took the Alford plea knowing that there was just no getting around it. He didn't think he was going to get a fair jury, so he might as well... He had already done the amount of time, and it was, he had already done his time in jail. He didn't want to face another jury because he was going to be retried.
Yeah.
And so rather than do that, he was just going to take time served and do his Alford plea. So that's a legal loophole to get through, and not, and admit, you're not admitting guilt. Essentially, you're innocent on an Alford plea.
Yeah. You just, like he said, he didn't think he was going to get a fair jury.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this case, I don't think if you're posting pictures and you're caught red-handed, you're innocent.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a technicality to keep him from being executed. So,
like you said, coward.
Yeah, that's the cowardly way out in this case. One more story before we tell you about Pras from the Fugees. This having to do with a former Navy sailor sentenced for killing his wife's boyfriend while they were together in bed.
Oh.
Yes.
This is going to be spicy.
I was telling you about spouses killing spouses. Well, here we go. Virginia Beach, Virginia. The Virginia Beach Commonwealth Attorney's Office announced this week that a 27-year-old former Navy sailor will spend 15 years in prison for fatally shooting his estranged wife's boyfriend in 2022.
Yeah. You might want to wait till you're divorced before you date.
Yeah, there's that too, yeah. Tyler Jenkins and his wife CP got married in 2011 and separated by August of 2021. The Virginia Beach Commonwealth's Attorney's Office went on to clarify that. They reportedly spoke with a divorce attorney but continued to live in separate bedrooms in the same apartment, even though they were seeing other people. That's always a bad idea.
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
Just a terrible idea.
That will never work. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good of friends you are, how good you think you can deal with it. You can't.
Nope.
You can't.
Look at what happened in this situation.
You can't stand to see each other with other people.
Nope.
It'll never work.
You need to separate.
On March 11th of 2022, CP, who was also in the Navy, returned home after being away on duty. She told Jenkins she was planning to hang out with her boyfriend, Timothy Talley, and some friends that night. She returned home several hours later, and Jenkins' bedroom door was reportedly closed, so they were not sure if he was actually home or not. According to the attorney's office, Talley and CP were having intercourse in CP's room when Jenkins came in, armed with a pistol, and fired 4 shots.
And that's why it's not a good idea.
That's right. Talley was shot 3 times and died as a result. CP called 911, and the Virginia Beach Police Department responded to the home on the 4800 block of Crystalline Place, where they found the victim deceased. Jenkins was taken into custody without incident. Police interviewed Jenkins, and he reportedly asked what he was supposed to do if someone was sleeping with his wife. Well, that's not the case. You were separated. You agreed to it. You had different bedrooms. You were seeing other people.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can go shoot somebody.
That's right. According to the attorney's office, he changed his story and claimed he believed Talley was raping his wife. No,
now you're reaching.
He then went back to his initial story. Investigators also searched Jenkins' phone and discovered he had sexual relations with other women. Following his arrest, the attorney's office said CP found evidence of sexual activity by Jenkins in their apartment. Jenkins was booked into the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office and later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and use of a firearm in January. The attorney's office announced that on May 1st, that per a plea agreement, Jenkins was sentenced to 23 years in prison, with 8 suspended, leaving 15 years to serve.
And that's why you don't live with your ex.
That's right. That's why you don't, even if you're separating, even if you see, separation only means that you've just taken some time apart, it doesn't mean that the marriage isn't still legal. That gives one person the idea that they can put their own meaning to what's going on in the relationship.
Yeah. They clearly hadn't defined what the relationship was.
Right.
For him to go in and then his excuse was, well, he was sleeping with my wife.
And something tells me that even though they were seeing other people, I think there probably was still some activity going on between the two.
Oh, I bet too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. So. Now, I was telling you earlier, Bruiser, about the Fugees' Pras Michelle. And we were talking quite a few weeks ago about the fact that there was this huge trial coming up with Pras. And that it was going to be all the rage. Well, all of a sudden, it got real quiet. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio testified in this trial. And there were some pretty big names that testified in this trial.
Yeah.
But the media stayed quiet about it. There's a reason why. Because this trial had to do with Chinese connections, had to do with millionaires, and it had to do with whether Pras was lobbying on behalf of the Chinese government.
Oh, he's a spy, huh?
Well, or was he? Now, I'll let you decide after I tell you what he's guilty of. Okay. Was he guilty of just trying to find money after his rapping career dried up? Or is he really guilty of spying, like he just said? The Fugees' Pras Michelle was found guilty of illegal lobbying.
Okay.
That's the actual charge that he was found guilty of. Fugees musician Pras, I believe it's Prakazrel, right, or Pras Michelle, has been found guilty of 10 counts, including corruption stemming from allegations that he used money to peddle influence in the U.S. U.S. prosecutors said Michelle had received more than $100 million from Malaysian billionaire Zhou Lo. That's what it is, Zhou Lo. That was used in two efforts to influence U.S. politics. The self-identifying celebrity surrogate was also convicted of lobbying on behalf of the Chinese government. The rapper now faces years in prison as a result. The 50-year-old Michelle was convicted in a Washington, D.C. court of campaign finance violations, acting as an unregistered foreign agent, witness tampering, and lying to banks.
Yeah, he's a Chinese spy.
Well, technically.
Not a spy. He's a Chinese influencer.
that would be accurate. Chinese influencer. Chinese lobbyist.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a spy. His lawyer, David Kenner, said that he was disappointed with the outcome of the trial and planned to file an appeal. Mr. Kenner said, "This is not over. I remain very, very confident that we will ultimately prevail in this matter." Mr. Kenner said he had also filed motions for a mistrial. The trial, which began on March 30th, saw testimony from Hollywood star Leonardo DiCaprio, as well as a former U.S. Attorney General, Jeff Sessions.
I wonder what Leo has to do with this.
Well, Leo also had some ties to Zhou Lo.
Okay.
Because Zhou Lo, I think, did some financing for Titanic.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's how he's involved. The Grammy-winning musician was accused of bringing secret illegal foreign influence to bear during the administrations of Barack Obama and Donald Trump between 2012 and 2017. Businessman Mr. Lowe, who funneled money to Michelle, is accused of stealing about $4 billion from Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund during the infamous 1MDB scandal. Mr. Lowe, who is currently wanted by the U.S. government, allegedly helped finance DiCaprio's... I'm sorry, it wasn't Titanic, it was The Wolf of Wall Street. He financed DiCaprio's 2013 film The Wolf of Wall Street with money stolen from the sovereign fund. That's how DiCaprio's involved.
Gotcha.
Michelle was alleged to have helped lobby Trump administration officials to abandon the investigation into Mr. Lowe's part in it. Additionally, Michelle was also accused of taking money from China to lobby U.S. officials to extradite a U.S.-based dissident, Guo Wengui, I believe it is, back to China.
Okay.
So he was doing a little lobbying, not quite spying, but there's lobbying there.
Nope, that's definitely lobbying.
Yep. The government's lead prosecutor, Nicole Lockhart, told jurors that Michelle had been looking for other ways to be paid after his music career stalled. She also said he had seen an opportunity to make money through Mr. Lowe, who needed a different type of help to avoid the consequences of the 1MDB scheme. Well, Michelle acknowledged taking money from Mr. Lowe, including $20 million to help him get a photo with Mr. Obama. He said he had viewed the payments as free money.
No. It's never, when it's that much, it's never free.
That's never free money. No.
Yeah. For a picture with Obama. No.
That's not free money. Taking the stand in his own defense, Michelle said he also felt betrayed by his advisors and employees who claimed had offered him bad advice on how to handle money and avoid breaking the law.
So it's their fault, not his.
Yeah, he was innocent in all this, by the way.
Yeah.
Is
so I'm going to take all this money. Is that okay? You don't think it's okay? Well, too bad. I'm me, you're you. It's my money.
Right. He acknowledged, however, that it had been stupid to reach out to friends, and quote, who were quote unquote getting visits from the FBI about campaign contributions, an idea that led to his witness tampering charges. That's where the FBI informant thing comes in. Okay.
That he's denying, correct?
That he's denying, right. So from TMZ, Pras says that people are reading way too much into his guilty verdict for fraud. The ex-Fugees rapper tells TMZ Hip Hop that the widespread rumors he secretly worked out a deal with the feds is one big lie. Right. So they caught up with him in Beverly Hills, and the reality of the case is kicking in, so to speak, with him. And he told TMZ he can't react too much for legal reasons. As he put it, we got work to do. We'll be okay.
Who's we?
I don't know who we
fine no matter what happens, dude.
I think maybe him and his lawyer. I think
it's like, you're the one going to prison, not me.
Right. Pras sternly told TMZ he never worked for the FBI or CIA, as his testimony proves it, and encourages everyone to check the transcript. He refuses to be lumped in with Tekashi 6ix9ine, who cooperated with the feds while testifying against fellow gang members in court. He makes a fair point. Tekashi pled guilty, but Pras was found guilty. So he didn't plead guilty. He was found guilty by a jury. If he'd struck a deal to work with prosecutors, he would have entered a plea and not left his fate to the jury. And that's just how it works.
And that makes sense. That's what a plea agreement is.
Yeah. So no, folks, he says he didn't work.
I believe him
with the government. So.
On that. I don't believe him on the other side. I think he lobbied, but yeah, I believe that he's not. Well, he's not sentenced yet, obviously, if he's still free.
No, they haven't sentenced him as of yet. But
yeah, let's see what his sentence is before if we say yes or no. Because if he only gets like 2 years,
if he gets a light sentence, especially with all that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll know that he worked out something with the feds.
Or let's see how quick his appeals go through, all that stuff. You got to wait because that's what they promise you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's time now, Bruiser, for us to lighten it up. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time. The time you all look forward to. It's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. I don't know that I have to introduce him, but he's right over there. Look at him, his bright, shiny face. The BCB, the big cuddly bear himself, Beer City Bruiser.
Shiny face, huh?
Well, bright and shiny, you know. It's just
okay.
Just alliteration is all it is, Bruiser.
Are you turning a phrase, as they say?
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one in a while. Turning. I
haven't either, so I'm surprised I remembered.
There you go. We go from the astounding to the absurd.
Okay.
Everyone's got to commit a crime with a weapon.
Of course.
This weapon is delicious, by the way.
I love when we bring in delicious weapons, like the lady in the Walmart that hit the other lady with the 3 pounds of hamburger,
yes.
ground hamburger tube,
which is heavy, by the way.
It is.
We've had them from 3 pounds to up to 20 pounds.
I hit Mrs. Bruiser with a 3 pound in the shoulder just to see how she'd react, and she ended up punching me.
It hurts. It's a heavy log, so to speak.
It is.
Do I have this thing working? There we go. It's a heavy log. Hey, honey, want to hold my 3 pounder?
Want to hold my tube of meat?
There you go. This one has just as many of these in it. Because literally, if I'm going to swing my chicken at you, you better hold on to it and choke it out for dear life. Just saying. A poultry crime wave continues as a man is busted for chicken battery on his brother, if you know what I mean. Wait, no, that sounds horrible.
Chicken battery?
Chicken battery.
That sounds horrible for who? The guy or the chicken?
Well, beating your brother's chicken.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. It's kind of gross.
That's like grabbing his tube of meat.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
We'll go to Louisiana. I'll tell you the story and then you judge for yourself. A Louisiana man is behind bars after allegedly clobbering his brother in the head with a frozen bag of chicken.
Oh, okay.
That could hurt.
That would hurt a lot.
Yeah. The latest in a series of poultry-related crimes plaguing the nation. According to police, 59-year-old Tommy Buell is, he battered his sibling. Late Tuesday evening inside a mobile home they share in West Monroe. The victim said that when he asked Buell about 2 windows busted out of his residence, his brother became angry and began throwing things at him. I guess that's how they got busted out.
Yeah. You know I was breaking your windows.
That's a very good impression, by the way. I don't know how you know them, but...
you know.
Yeah. I think they call it
It's kind of all the frozen chicken beatings start, you know?
That's how good ones start, as opposed to bad ones.
No good story started with I ate a salad.
It's true. The victim said that Buell grabbed a bag of frozen chicken out of the freezer, struck him in the side of the head with the poultry. Buell allegedly then continued grabbing frozen foods, which he threw at his brother.
So he just thought in that moment, I'm going to hit my brother. I need something to hit him with. He's going to walk past the broom, past the TV remote, past maybe a lamp, probably past all the dishes that are in the cupboards, open up the freezer, and choose frozen food. Okay.
Here's what gets me, though, okay? Now, you get into the freezer. You got a bunch of stuff there. You probably got ice cream. You can start with the what's whenever you want. You got ice cream.
What?
You got peas.
What?
You probably got green beans.
What?
You might have some Brussels sprouts.
What?
You probably got, frozen chicken.
What?
You might have beef.
What?
You might have deer.
What?
You might have, I'm running out of meats here. You might have pizza.
What?
You might have spaghetti.
Wait, what? Frozen spaghetti. Okay, what?
Yeah, or TV dinners.
What?
And the first thing you pick up is the frozen bag of chicken?
It's the best to swing.
Why not start with the peas and the beans and then work your way up? I mean,
that's not going to do damage, though. You want to come out of the gates heavy. You know, Tyson never threw a jab first. No, he knocked your block off.
Well, true, but I mean,
I picture him actually in my head. I picture him looking in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Grabbing the frozen pizza as a shield. grabbing the fried chicken as a mace and turning around thinking he's back as one of King Arthur's knights served food a lot. And he just starts winding up and starts beating his brother.
This is Louisiana!
You knocked out my window!
Boy, oh boy.
Can't hit you with the gumbo. That's tonight's dinner, so here's some chicken.
Did you add some of that there from the freezer into the gumbo, though? Because really, I forgot that. That gets a half. The victim, who refused medical attention, requested to pursue criminal charges against Buell, who was busted on a misdemeanor battery count.
What a chicken.
No. Buell's locked up in lieu of $500 bond. Buell's rap sheet includes collars for aggravated assault, domestic abuse, disturbing the peace, and theft. Now this is the guy who did the swinging Bruiser, but doesn't he look like he's been hit by a bag of frozen chicken?
His nose is like 4 times too big between his eyes.
It is. His beady little eyes.
Yeah, he's gotten hit by a lot of chickens.
Yeah.
He's older than I thought he'd be.
He's what?
He looks older than I thought.
Yeah, well, he's 59. I mean, you know, he's...
Yeah, but in that picture, he just looks older. Huh?
He does. He looks like he's probably 10 years older. That's for sure. He's got the white hair.
He should switch to organic.
It's probably all that bagged frozen chicken he's been eating. Yeah.
All that frozen food. Switch to organic, man.
Yeah, but when you start hitting your brother with organic chicken, nothing hurts.
All the brother's got to do is order some HelloFresh.
That's right. They were hitting each other with HelloFresh boxes. They'd go down quicker. Just saying. They're pretty big boxes.
They're huge. And they got those ice packs in there. Nice and solid.
Yeah. Moving on. Have you ever had let's just say a lapse in your license?
I have, admittedly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for very long though, right?
No.
You try to resolve that stuff pretty quickly.
Well, I travel, so
yeah. So you want
renting cars and stuff.
Yeah, you want to have that cleaned up rather quickly. You want to be legal out there on the streets. You know. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm no criminal.
No. Well, one driver across the pond let their license lapse for quite a while and eventually got caught by police. Took a bit, though.
How long did it take?
Took almost 50 years.
Do you think when he got arrested, he went, I knew I was supposed to do something yesterday?
I know I should have been at the DMV yesterday. A driver who was stopped after 50 years with no license, this according to police. A driver suspected of taking to the roads for half a century without a license has been stopped after boasting about his status, according to police. Officers.
They asked for his ID and he handed him like a little paper, like just shriveled up piece of paper that has a picture on it. There you go.
His permit test from 1973. Officers in Derbyshire said the 69-year-old had managed to fool insurance companies to cover his car. How do you do that for 50 years?
He's 69, so for 50, so he was 19 years old when his license lapsed. And he was just like, you know what? I don't got the money. I ain't got the money.
I don't have the money. I don't have your pounds. But they added the flaw in his dastardly plan was bragging about it.
Well, see, you and I were talking about that earlier. Mm-hmm. That's how they get caught.
That's right. The law caught up with him in a Derby retail park where his vehicle was seized and the culprit reported for a number of offenses. Derbyshire Roads Policing tweeted on Saturday, the driver of this vehicle has never passed a test despite being 69 years old and have been driving for over 50 years.
Now, this is either going to expose the police because he's never gotten a ticket in 50 years or he's really good at getting out of them.
I guess. It says here he has systematically provided details to insurance companies indicating that he had a license, but the flaw in his dastardly plan was bragging. His long reign came to an abrupt end once we found out. Vehicle seized and driver reported for numerous offenses. Stupid. If you think that's stupid, Bruiser,
Yeah.
I think I got one to top it.
Well, I don't know. We went from frozen chickens as weapons to not legally driving for over 50 years.
Oh, this one's good. A suspect with his own name tattooed on his neck is identified by police and arrested in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Oh, I'm not a fan of neck tattoos, and I'm not a fan of name on bodies. Why would you put your own name?
Don't become a career criminal if you're going to tattoo your own name on your neck.
Like, you're obviously forgetful if you have to put your name on your neck.
Yeah.
Yep. You forget what your name is.
That's right. We go to Cambridge, Massachusetts, where a man on the Boston Police Department's most wanted list, that's enough of a name to laser remove that tattoo off your neck, was taken into custody after officers spotted and identified him with the help of his own name-bearing tattoo.
Idiot.
Here's the worst part, Bruiser. He's 40 years old, so he knows better. Boston police said 40-year-old Francisco Mann was arrested after being observed by members of the department's fugitive unit on Wednesday near 109 Main Street in Cambridge. In a news release, officials said officers were able to positively identify the Boston resident thanks in part to a clearly visible neck tattoo of the suspect's first name, Francisco. According to Boston PD, Mann was arrested on an outstanding armed robbery warrant related to an incident in Dorchester that occurred in 2022.
What's your defense? Oh, no, that wasn't me. This is your tattoo. No, that's not mine. Francisco's my brother.
that I started that a while ago. I meant to tattoo in San Francisco 49ers.
I meant to do add San and then Francisco and then the San Francisco treat because that's my nickname to the ladies.
I just didn't have the money to finish it.
They were charging me by letter, damn it.
That's right. Authorities said it was January 2nd when police were called to Columbia Road for a report of a robbery in progress. Responding officers learned that during the incident, a suspect pulled a knife on a victim and attempted to assault him. No injuries were reported, but the suspect was able to steal gold jewelry and the victim's wallet before fleeing from the scene. That, according to police, Mann was added to the department's most wanted list sometime afterwards. As of Thursday, he was slated to be arraigned in Dorchester District Court, probably under dumbasses, I'm sure is what they're listing him under.
I wouldn't be surprised, too, if he was wearing all the gold jewelry, too.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Probably cover up the tattoo. I hinted to you that this story was coming up. This story, I'm surprised nobody sent it to me.
Really? Okay. Our listeners are usually on the ball with that.
I read this story and I couldn't believe it. It's got all the elements in here, Bruiser. All the elements. It's got Florida. It's got irony. It's got the person people love to most hate in it, a dentist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured people would go, ooh, Tim, look at this one. Nope, nobody sent it to me.
Not one, huh?
Not
and
one.
dentists are scary. Look at my nose.
They are scary people.
My dentist uses a steel chair.
Is that how he gets the teeth out? That's the extraction process?
Yeah, sits me with a steel chair in the mouth.
Yeah. Did you see, speaking of, I'll throw a little wrestling into this deal if you're ready. Did you see the whole Stone Cold Steve Austin Hidden Treasures program?
No, I haven't. I want to.
So
wait.
So when Mick Foley, I'll spoil one thing for you.
Yeah.
So when Mick Foley shows up to the house one of many times to try and get some hidden treasures out of Stone Cold,
Yeah.
Stone Cold keeps asking him where his false teeth are because he's not showing up with the false teeth in his mouth.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I forgot them at home again, and he goes, well, eventually I I'm going to have to get permanent teeth because these two are falling out right here. And he goes, well, you know what, Mick, I can take care of that for you. And he goes, well, how are you going to do that? And he goes, do you know a guy? He goes, no. He goes, I'll just do my famous comeback on you. Which, for those of you out there who don't know what the famous comeback is, that's just the, that's
punch, duck, clothesline, loose as press, mud hole stomp in the corner.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah. Teeth a stunner, yeah. I used to have fake teeth, the partials. And you remember my old tag team partner, Nick Colucci?
Yep.
He would make me travel with them. When I met my wife, she doesn't like them, so I don't wear them. And Colucci'd always, well, where's your teeth? And I'd have to show him. So for a while, I just kept them in my gear bag.
Yep.
And I'd travel all around because he'd always ask me that question. Well, I did some extra work for WWE, and I did it 2 weeks in a row, and I was going to be shown on camera 2 weeks in a row, and Stephanie McMahon says, you were on last week, you're too recognizable, I don't know what to do. I says, I'll tell you what, I'll shave my beard, I got some fake teeth in my bag, and you can dye my hair. She said, go do it, and let's see. So out comes a fully shaved, like babyface shaved, blonde hair, mouthful of teeth, Beer City Bruiser. And she goes, I love it. Put me right front and center. Colucci goes, look at that. Got you on TV again.
He took credit.
Because he was the one that always made me keep them in my bag.
Wow. Oh, well, there you go. See? There you go. So dentists are good for something, is what you're saying.
No.
Okay. They're not good for anything.
Dentists. That's what I'm saying. Is I hate dentists.
Well, this dentist wasn't good for anything either. A man was brutally attacked with a golf club for walking on the cart path, according to deputies. Eddie Orabidig, I believe is the name, was arrested in an attack at a Florida golf club or country club. We go to Lady Lake, Florida. It's the funniest name I've ever heard of.
It is.
A 52-year-old Lake County man was arrested on allegations of attacking another man with a golf club over an argument about walking on the course. According to sheriff's officials, deputies said the victim and his wife were walking on the Harbor Hills Country Club golf course path in Lady Lake when Eddie Orabidig, I believe it is, who was playing golf with his son, told the pair that they were not supposed to walk on the path because it is intended for golf carts. And it is a rule of the golf course. I've never heard of that ever in my life.
I've never heard that rule before, ever.
The paved path is for anybody who's traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like normally 9 times out of 10 people golfing are walking on the course, but there's still those couple people who only play 9 or whatever and want to walk back up to the clubhouse.
Yeah. So they can walk on that path. It's fine.
Yeah.
If they see a cart coming, they can jump off the paved path, but they can walk on it.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is get off the paved path and on the course because now people are hitting golf balls at you.
That's right. That's right. According to an arrest affidavit, the victim said an argument began and Orabidig spit in his face. Orabidig then struck the victim's leg with a golf club, leading to a physical altercation. That hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care who you are.
Why would you do that?
Unless you want to start something, I guess. I don't know why you do it. The victim said that Orabidig then struck him again with the golf club, this time on the side of his head from behind.
Oh.
The man told deputies he tried to defend himself by striking Orabidig with his water bottle. Not a fair fight. No.
Who brought the water bottle to the golf club fight?
Orabidig continued to strike the man several times, and the victim told deputies he believed his ribs were broken in the attack. Ow.
Yeah, I can see that.
According to the affidavit, the victim was unable to provide a written statement, but was able to give a verbal one. Well, probably because things were broken. Deputies said the victim's body and clothes were covered in what appeared to be blood, and the man had several cuts on his body, including an earlobe that was ripped.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
I've seen people with ripped earlobes. Oh, not pretty.
They hurt. The man was taken to a hospital for potential broken ribs, a possible traumatic brain injury, and potentially having a broken jaw, officials said.
Oh.
Yeah. Orabidig was arrested and taken to the Lake County Jail on charges of aggravated battery, according to the affidavit. Yeah. I mentioned the guy was a dentist. In another story I saw, the guy is mentioned as being a dentist, but they took it out of the story. So.
That's because they're like, look, this guy's already bad enough.
Yeah. He had surgical precision, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm surprised he didn't first go after the guy's mouth, and then when the guy was laying there, offer his services.
Well, you would think. 10% off if I can fix that for you. I don't know. I meant to put this in our... wait, is this... we are to the... we're to the reason I put the dentist story there. We're now to a series of stories that involve occupations.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Jobs, yes. We move on now to... what part of the country are we going to? This says Montgomery, so I'm taking it that this is Alabama, possibly?
Vermont.
We're going to Vermont. I can't believe he shot me. A road maintenance dispute prompted a shooting, according to police. A Montgomery man has denied shooting another man in a dispute over the maintenance of a private shared road where they both live. 77-year-old Robert Morrill pleaded not guilty Friday in Franklin County Superior Criminal Court to a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in the shooting of 54-year-old Kevin Temple. Both men live on Highland Springs Road. Temple was hospitalized after the shooting Thursday afternoon for serious but not life-threatening injuries. Judge Martin Maley released Morrill on conditions sought by Franklin County State's Attorney John Lavoie, or Lavoie, one or the other. Lavoie. Including that Morrill must stay away from Temple and abide by a 24-hour curfew at his home except for medical needs.
So he basically is put in the corner.
Yes. Nobody puts
Morrill
in the corner, I guess. Pardon me. Choked me up there. There you go. If he is driving on the road, he cannot stop. He cannot possess firearms, and he cannot grade the road, the conditions state.
What's grade the road?
You know, when you grade out the... he's a road worker, so he can't...
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He can't grade out the tar or anything.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
He can't, he can't work on the road, essentially.
Yeah, he has to work on a different road.
Yeah.
I love how he can't stop when he's driving.
Can't stop.
Every time he passes that house, he's just going to start cussing.
Right. Lavoie. I'm just going to say that's his name because it sounds better. Told the judge that Temple and his family plan to move out of their home because they fear Morrill. They expect to pick up their belongings over the weekend, and while Morrill is under curfew, he said. Malley asked why the Temple family is being forced to move out instead of Morrill finding another residence. Morrill's attorney, Paul, I believe it's Groce, responded that his client had nowhere else to go.
This is my only... Oh, it's Vermont. This is my only house.
This is my only house, yeah. You betcha, yes. According to an affidavit written by Vermont State Police Detective Sergeant Angela Baker, the shooting stemmed from an ongoing dispute over the private road where the two men live. On Thursday afternoon, Morrill shot Temple in the torso. Figure that one out.
Shot Temple in the torso.
Yeah, shot Temple in the torso with a .22 caliber revolver, according to Baker's document, which was filed in court. He remained at the scene and was taken into custody by responding police. Mary Temple, Kevin Temple's wife, told police that she was at a grocery store when her daughter messaged her, telling her to come home now, Baker wrote.
That's a phone call, not a message.
I guess so.
That's this generation, but that's a phone call, not a text message.
Yeah, that is a phone call. When Mary Temple got to the house, according to her affidavit, her husband had been shot and was lying on the ground mumbling, "He shot me, honey. He shot me. I can't believe he shot me." Well, guess what? He shot you. Mary Temple told police her husband had past run-ins with Morrill over the road, but none were violent, according to the affidavit. Police later interviewed Kevin Temple at the hospital, where he reported that Morrill had been grading the road, widening it into the Temple's property. Temple said he parked his truck and sat on the tailgate to stop Morrill from grading. Baker wrote, and Morrill came back with his tractor. This is where it got heated.
He's got his tractor. Watch out.
Yep. Temple advised Bob pointed a gun at him and was not sure what happened next, but Bob shot Temple. She wrote, Temple advised he fell and asked Bob to call 911. Bob replied, "Get fucked." Oh, but I got to do it in a Vermont accent. Get fucked. There you go.
This is just teaching me that Vermont lies to us.
Yeah, they're not a friendly state at all.
Vermont is not for everyone.
That's right. Vermont is not for everyone. Temple told police the two men have argued about the road for some time. Morrell told police that he and a neighbor had been scraping, scrapping is 2 P's.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put 1 P in there.
They could be scraping each other.
They've been scraping the road Thursday, alleging that Temple threw a rock at him when he passed Temple's residence. Boy, these are like two grumpy old men.
This is.
Baker wrote in the affidavit that Morrell had no marks or bruises indicating that he had been hit by a rock. Morrell, who had his gun with him, said he shot Temple, according to the affidavit. Okay, rock, gun. That's a huge escalation there.
Again, who brought a rock to a gunfight?
That's right. Bob said he was not trying to kill Kevin, Baker wrote. He said, I could have killed him. I could have shot him 2 in the eyes. That wasn't my intention.
This dude, I would not want to be this guy's attorney.
No.
You said, what?
Morrell, according to the document, claimed his actions were in self-defense. I asked Bob his thoughts on shooting Kevin, and he said, it don't bother me a bit.
Again, this lawyer's going, no, shut up.
I'm sorry, in a proper Vermont accent it'd be, it don't bother me a bit.
It reminded a Family Guy where Chris is just talking. He's having a conversation. So the attorney's like, okay, yeah, so you're in your tractor. You got your gun. Okay, yeah. We could probably get you what?
Just bizarre. Let's move on. More stuff that happens at work or your occupation.
I hope they're just as dumb as the last guy.
Oh, boy. Well, is it ever? We're going to Walmart in Florida, so you know it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A Walmart employee fatally shoots a customer, according to investigators.
They shouldn't do that.
Because at Walmart, the prices are low, and so are the morals.
That's going to get you a bad Yelp review.
That is.
I went to Walmart and died.
Yep. An off-duty Walmart employee fatally shot a customer who tried to help a female employee who had gotten into a fight with the off-duty employee. Are you confused yet?
Yeah. So, okay, wait, the off-duty employee shot a woman helping an employee fight with an off-duty employee.
No. Okay, follow me here.
Okay.
An off-duty Walmart employee, we'll call him number 1,
okay,
fatally shot a customer who tried to help a female employee, we'll call her number 2, who had gotten into a fight with the off-duty employee number 1.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
All right. Florida law enforcement officials said on Wednesday, 22-year-old Tyrone Sterling, I've got the hiccups, pardon me, is charged with first-degree murder for Tuesday afternoon shooting at suburban Fort Lauderdale Walmart. The Broward County Sheriff's Office said. I don't know why I buzzed like Shatner. According to investigators, Sterling went to the Lauderdale Lakes store to meet with a female colleague. They got into an argument that escalated into a fight, with Sterling dropping a handgun onto the floor because, you should be strapped if you're working at Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A male customer came to the woman's aid, but Sterling retrieved his gun and shot the man several times, killing him. According to investigators, the victim's name and age have not been released. Sterling fled the store but was arrested hours later. Investigators said he was being held without bond Wednesday, awaiting his initial court appearance. It could not immediately be determined if he has an attorney. Senseless violence like this is intolerable, and we're heartbroken. The customer who intervened in an apparent attack, is one of on one of our associates has died from his injuries, Walmart spokesman Charles Croson said in a statement. We offer our heartfelt condolences to his family during this difficult time, and we will continue working with our associates, providing support as needed. By the way, you can get the ammunition over in Sporting Goods for low price. No, I'm kidding.
But they have a sign, Tim. This couldn't happen. They have a sign.
They have a sign?
Walmart has a sign that says no guns on the premises. Oh. Every Walmart has it.
Okay.
But you can still buy the ammunition there.
He said Sterling has been suspended and steps are underway to terminate his employment. He's still an employee. He hasn't been fired yet.
He was off the clock.
Holy shit. He's still an employee.
They're going to send an HR rep and go, this is not how we get repeat customers. They need to be alive so we can get a repeat customer.
How do you shoot a customer and you're still an employee?
It's Walmart, man.
Wow. Wow.
He was off the clock.
Wow. Let's move on, shall we? The Walmart of the air, Spirit Airlines, is in the news.
I told you how I got into it with Spirit a while back, yeah?
No.
And they called me, and I have a very nasty voicemail from them.
No.
That hopefully I can use for future lawsuit. But yeah, we were trying to find my daughter home, and a bunch of stuff got screwed up. So my wife, was emailing and trying to get our refund, and it was just a big chaos. Mm-hmm. I had nothing to do with it. I tweeted out, hey, Spirit, I'd really, stop screwing up. I'd really like to see my daughter type stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's all I tweeted. Mm-hmm. I got a phone message, voicemail. I got a call from an unknown number. It was a voicemail from Spirit Airlines telling me to take down the douchey tweet that they don't appreciate assholes like me.
Oh, God.
And all this stuff. It's like a 15-second. I should play it for you sometime off air. But I was like, wait a minute. How did they get my information?
Yeah.
Like, how do they know my phone number, my real name, all that? That's not online anywhere.
Yeah.
And my wife booked the ticket. I didn't.
Whoa.
So how did this happen? So we had contacted, we gave them, it was about a year that Mrs. Bruiser was talking to the actual COO of the company, because we sent them the voicemail. I still have it saved. Sent them the voicemail and all our information, and they gave us, they were offering us like a bunch of miles to walk away. We're like, no, no, this is not right. Why would we ever fly you again? Yeah. And then we had called to get a lawyer in, and that's when they got bought up by, I think Frontier bought them, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So now the lawyer says, hang on to everything. We'll wait till that merger's done, and we'll get you some.
Nice. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa.
Don't fly Spirit.
All right. This segment brought to you by Spirit Airlines.
No, not really.
No, not really. They didn't pay for anything. So this story has to do with a pregnant passenger who clearly smelled like alcohol, who pummeled a Spirit Airlines worker. It just keeps getting better over there.
It wasn't alcohol. Vodka doesn't have a smell.
Spirit Airlines, sure, we're serving pregnant passengers. Why not?
Yeah, you can't judge. She could just be fat.
Oh, no. Come on now. Oh, God. Oh, God, no.
It's not polite to ask.
That's true, yeah. But you
still don't assume.
You don't know where to take that. That's a podcasting time bomb right there that you just dropped in my lap. Shocking video has captured a pregnant passenger violently attacking a Spirit Airlines employee after she was told she couldn't board the plane due to her aggressive behavior.
The Spirit didn't serve her. She went to a bar. Sure. If she's trying to board the plane, she went to an airport bar.
Sure.
Yeah, their bartenders did not serve her.
I was just kidding when I threw that out there, buddy. I wasn't.
What?
The footage shows 29-year-old Philadelphian Kay Maria Scott, who was 6 months pregnant, tackling Spirit Airlines employee Jasmine Roden at a boarding gate at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in Georgia. During the April 30th brawl, Scott, who can be seen in the footage wearing a gray sweatshirt, appears to slam Roden into a barrier. It was at that moment that Triple H appeared and gave her a WWE contract. Oh, I'm kidding.
This lady really doesn't know what's good for her baby.
No.
Drinking, getting into rumbles.
Fighting around the world. The two fall to the ground and begin to tussle. Stunned passengers look on as others frantically yell at the women to stop. Eventually, four onlookers are able to pull away Scott, who had climbed on top of the employee. Well, the video, which was originally shared to Twitter, claims both were added to the no-fly list. Only Scott was, as Roden works for the airline. Be a little hard to add her. The fierce exchange transpired after Scott went up to the gate to ask what was going on with her upcoming flight, according to a witness statement given to the Atlanta Police Department by Roden. Scott allegedly then began to threaten one of the gate agents, who promptly called 911. Roden stated that the passenger made a statement to other passengers around that she will beat a bitch up if she does not get on her plane. The report went on to say,
she sounds like a lovely lady.
She does. She sounds like salt of the earth, sweet as pie. At that moment, Ms. Roden explained that she was going to deny her boarding she was going to deny her boarding to this flight due to her statement and actions at the gate area. Well, that's kind of escalating things, too, don't you think?
Yeah.
As the gate agent closed the gate, Scott began swinging her arms and hitting Ms. Roden on the left side of her face. That's not going to get you on the plane either.
Nope.
Scott then began to pull Roden's hair and pushed her into the barrier, causing them to fall to the ground, according to the report. Ms. Roden stated that the female fell on top of her and took four other passengers to get Ms. Q. Scott off of her. I have a wonderfully candid picture to show you here in a moment, too, Bruiser. Roden later told police that she clearly smelled alcohol on Scott, who also claimed to be pregnant both during the attack and to police after her arrest. Body cam footage from the Atlanta Police Department showed Roden telling officers Scott needs to be arrested. As Scott is surrounded by officers, she yells, I'm pregnant, before officers place her in handcuffs. Scott then says, I didn't do nothing to nobody. You really just got me booked. It's cool. I'm going to remember your face in my head forever. That's not the threat you want to throw as you get pulled away.
And what do you mean you didn't do anything? You were literally caught red-handed.
Yeah, you kind of punched her upside the head a few times and threw her into a barrier.
On top of her punching her when four other people to get you off.
Yeah. Scott was arrested and booked into Clayton County Jail on a $1,500 bond. You got off kind of cheap on that deal.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Well, being transported to the police precinct, Scott told officers she was 6 months pregnant, according to the police report. Atlanta Fire and EMS were called to the precinct to check out Scott, who was not transported to the hospital after her arrest.
Well, they did ask her, how pregnant are you? She goes, I'm six-pack. Pregnant. There's a six-pack pregnant? No, 6 months. Sorry. 6 months.
Yeah, six-pack pregnant. She was 6. Here's the quite attractive picture of the two of them tussling in the airport.
That's MMA right there.
That is MMA, isn't it? They call that the ground and pound right there.
Yeah, they do.
That's what that is right there.
Just a big butt with a leg wrap around it. That's what that is.
That pretty much describes a Saturday night with me right there. Just a big butt with a leg wrap. I tell you, speaking of jobs with a big butt and a leg wrap, let's talk meteorologists.
Of course, why not? They're always drawing dick pictures.
That's what did you say there?
They're always drawing dick pictures when
they do. Yeah.
If you go on, there's a thread on Twitter.
Meteorologist
just draws dicks, and it's just everybody through the years from different countries and different continents and different states, just all the way they're drawing the weather patterns, it looks like dicks.
The funniest meteorological term out there, if you ever hear it on the air when they're pointing at the weather map, see if you ever hear them say moist tongue and a warm slot. It's more common down south than you know.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. Look it up. But tongue is spelled T-U-N-G. Look up the term on Google. Google moist tongue, T-U-N-G, and a warm slot.
Okay.
And it'll come up with a real weather phenomenon.
Moist tongue.
And a warm slot.
T-U-N-G.
T-U-N-G. And what'd you get?
It says, I'm searching it right now. It says, it's not, humidity tolerant roll to roll, something with humidity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's from the weather prediction, weather terms that sound sexual but are not.
See?
I got the list right here if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'll do the top 10. Number 10 is the erogenous zone.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 is a haboob.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 is a rear end inflow. A 7 is a bulging tip.
Yep.
Number 6 is the moist tongue.
Yep. Moist tongue. Yep.
Number 5 is suction vortices.
Yep. Vortices. Yep.
Number 4, dry slot.
Yep.
Number 3 is a wet bulb.
Yep.
Number 2 is a panhandle hooker.
Yes, a panhandle hooker. Yep.
And the number 1 most sexual weather term that's an actual weather phenomenon is called a beaver tail.
Yes, the good old beaver tail. Yep. So yeah,
It worries me you know so much about weather.
well, because I've sat and done the weather for 30 years at radio stations.
Oh, that's right. You have? Okay.
Yeah. And plus I've had to sit around and watch wannabe meteorologists sit around and get weather woodies is what we call them whenever we get bad weather. So what it used to be is before we had computers, they used to sit and run back and forth to a printer. And they would grab whatever was coming off the wire from the National Weather Service. So when we were in college, we had Howard and Corey. God love them, they're still around. One of them went on to be the full-time weather guy down in Wisconsin. I won't say where because then I'm giving away his name and his identity.
And all the pictures of dicks that he draws on his weather maps.
Yes, and all the pictures of dicks he draws on his weather maps. But yeah, we used to call them weather woodies. So they'd hear the printer going off, and they go, "Oh!" and they'd run across the newsroom to go see what was going on. We'd say, "Oh, look, Howard and Corey got their weather woodies."
That's great.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but meteorologists are disturbed. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they are.
Even the cute, hot females are disturbed.
Agreed. I can stick my head out and tell you what it's like.
Well, that's the thing. It's all a cover for repressed sexuality. It really is. It's just people who are overly horny trying to find jobs where they can pretend that they're doing something so they can look up porn on computers. I'm convinced that's what it is. That's got to be what it is.
Because with that list, we literally could put it in a weather.
Yep.
Like a weather search. Mm-hmm. Or a porn search.
Yeah.
You get two completely different results.
Exactly. See? But in the meantime, there's one Texas meteorologist out there who's facing a storm of criticism over posts warning kids not to ring doorbells. I'm telling you, the meteorologists are disturbed people. They really are. A meteorologist from North Texas who runs the weather forecasting website and social media accounts, WeatherNet, is going viral after posting that he had a gun ready when a child rang his doorbell and that he made the child cry.
Of course, you have a gun. That'd make me cry.
What kind of disturbed individual are you that you answered the door with a gun?
Especially on Halloween.
Well, yeah. That's the day you want to put the gun away. Is Halloween. In the posts, which have been since been deleted, but were shared on Twitter as screenshots by the user at TizStef, STEF, Chris Robbins also said the child was looking for a lost kitten.
Wait, Christopher Robbins?
Well, I don't know about Christopher, but it is spelled Robbins. The National Weather Association, of which Robbins said in his bio he was a member of the social media committee, revoked his membership, thank God, for violating the organization's code of ethics and policy.
Well, thank God they got a no gun to children policy.
Yeah. The American Meteorological Society, where Robbins used to work as an associate editor of the Weather and Forecasting Journal, also tweeted Monday to clarify that he has not been a member of its team since 2018 and that it would be looking further into the incident.
What possessed him to say this to this child?
He's a weirdo.
He's a meteorologist. Got it.
He's a meteorologist. Robbins has since apologized in a new Facebook post for what he originally shared. According to a biography on the iWeatherNet website, Robbins is the founder and chief meteorologist of the organization. Well, that doesn't say much for you. His Twitter bio says he's from Southlake. He lists his work experience as including jobs at the National Severe Storms Laboratory, the National Hurricane Center, and the National Weather Service in Fort Worth. In the first of his two screenshots of his posts that went viral on Twitter, Robbins wrote that his 6 was loaded. Oh, he's from the streets. Referencing a handgun when a child rang his doorbell and that kids shouldn't ring doorbells.
Oh.
He said, folks, you do not ring doorbells in 2023, Robbins wrote in the post screenshot and shared on Twitter.
What do you do in 2023? Knock? Like, what do you do?
I
Stand outside the door and yell?
Candygram? I don't know. I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah.
In a second post screenshot, Robbins expanded on the details of the incident, saying the girl was looking for a lost kitten, that he made her cry and told her he would pull her hair if she rang his doorbell again. What kind of a weirdo are you?
What's wrong with this guy?
I'm so impatient, Robbins wrote in the second post. I feel bad because I warned her that I might pull her hair if they rang my doorbell again. She started crying. I told her to call animal control because I saw them in the neighborhood a few days ago. According to the screenshot, Robbins wrote in the post that he was sharing the story to warn people about the dangers of ringing a stranger's doorbell.
What? No.
And then he says, read the news. Stop it, he wrote. If my doorbell rings again tomorrow, I might pull someone's hair, LOL. I'm just playing, but it's a bad idea for kids roaming around ringing doorbells. It's not 1972. If that brat rings my doorbell again tomorrow, I will call the police. Take notes.
This is the dude that the kids used to play Ding Dong Ditch on all the time.
Right?
When he was little.
What kind of a lunatic is this?
Yeah. Yeah, he was the victim of Ding Dong Ditch all the time, or he was never invited to do it with his friends.
And then he goes on to write in his apology, I'm truly very sorry for the ridiculous post that I made a few days ago about the doorbell. Temporary lapse in judgment, we all make mistakes. I love everyone and I hope you all can forgive me. My point was, in light of recent events involving doorbells, it's not a good idea to go around the neighborhood ringing them. I couldn't harm a flea. Bullshit.
What news of doorbells? Any shootings we've heard of?
Well, the boy in Kansas City who was shot by that man, the one who was coming to get his brother and sister.
Yeah.
The kid in Kansas City.
Yep.
I helped that little girl find her kitten, is what this meteorologist went on to say, this Robbins. Robbins has received backlash from Twitter users since the post with the original 2 screenshots, which was made on Monday. Some recommended finding out if he is employed anywhere and reporting the post to the employer, finding out if he has children, and if so, reporting the post to Child Protective Services and criticizing his logic.
Yeah. 100%.
Which isn't a bad idea at all either.
Like, I like how he tries to good guy himself at the end. Well, help her find her cat. Dude, you threatened her with a gun, threatened to pull her hair and made her cry.
Yeah, exactly. One posted a link to the Boston Globe article from 2016 about a man who killed a teenager who was banging on his door and claimed self-defense. The man, Jeffrey Lovell of Chicopee, Massachusetts, was found not guilty in 2018, according to MassLive.com. Most recently, protests broke out in Kansas City, Missouri, after an 84-year-old man shot 16-year-old Ralph Yarl on April 13th. The teen's family said he went to the wrong address while trying to pick up his younger siblings. NPR reported that last month. Yarl was taken to the hospital and eventually was able to return home, thank God. The shooter, Andrew D. Lester, has been charged with first-degree assault. So there's that.
This guy needs to be charged with assault or something. Yeah, he's just threatening it. You know what I mean? But there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's move on. 2 Brooklyn women were arrested at the Miami airport after a kick to the Miami-Dade cop's groin.
Rochambeau.
Again, more airport crimes.
Kicked in the balls.
That's right. More airport crimes. 2 New York women apparently flying back home to New York were arrested Wednesday afternoon after assaulting multiple police officers at Miami International Airport. Oh boy, these are interesting names. Jacoby Alexandada Nevels, 21 years old, of Brooklyn, is facing charges of battery on a police officer, resisting an officer with violence and criminal mischief. 19-year-old Jaela Marie Nevels, also of Brooklyn, is facing 1 count of resisting officers. Had the story skip on me. Just 1 second here. So Jaela is facing charges of battery on a police officer, resisting an officer with violence and criminal mischief. I'm sorry, Jaela, 1 count of resisting an officer with violence. An arrest report doesn't make clear what relation the 2 may have. According to the report, Miami-Dade police officers responded to gate E22 at Miami after receiving a call of disruptive passengers on a flight. According to a flight tracking website, a JetBlue flight at gate E22 was scheduled to fly into John F. Kennedy Airport in New York at around the same time the incident took place, but was delayed for nearly 2 hours. Authorities said as one officer approached both women after trying to keep them from leaving the area during the investigation, Jael Nevis pushed the officer while knocking his hand down. Police said as Jacoby Nevels pushed past the officer, she tried to exit through a locked door while damaging the lock.
How hard she hit it?
I don't know. Both women then attempted to go upstairs when they were approached by another responding officer, authorities said. According to the report, both women started screaming at the officer, stating, "We don't need the police. Let us past you." Police said both women turned around and began walking down the stairs when Jacoby Nevels grabbed and pushed past police who were trying to stop them from leaving the scene. As police continued to follow Jacoby Nevels, she then turned around and hit an officer's arm, according to the report. Authorities said Nevels refused to put her hands behind her back and continued aggressively to resist arrest by flailing her arms and kicking officers. Police said that one officer was kicked in the groin and was later transported to the University of Miami Hospital for further treatment. If she kicks that hard, we have a kicker position open for the Minnesota Vikings.
I was going to say, she needs a job in the NFL.
That's right. According to the report, the other officers involved also sustained bruising after the attack, but were not hospitalized. Police said that both Jacoby Nevels and Jael Nevels refused to give statements and were transported to Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center for processing. That's harsh.
We're not going to answer any questions. We didn't call the police.
Authorities said that both women were also issued trespass warnings following the incident. So there you go.
Trespassing. Okay.
Yeah. Just a couple more stories here on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. This is the ultimate dumb criminal.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
A man was arrested after opening a heroin, cocaine, and meth store in Canada. I don't know how you even get this off the ground.
Well, can you imagine talking to? You got to get the right loan officer.
I guess.
Like, hey,
right?
man, 20% discount. Give me the loan. 20% discount.
This man's name is Jerry Martin. He says he opened the drugs store, that's the name of it, to give people access to a sales supply of fentanyl-free drugs.
Oh, okay. So he's just trying to be a safe drug dealer.
His heart was in the right place. The Vancouver man who opened a store selling heroin, meth, cocaine, and MDMA was arrested less than 24 hours after launching his business.
It got 24 hours up, though, so he could have made a few sales.
Probably.
I don't think enough to pay his loan back, but still, he could have made a few sales.
Right. Jerry Martin opened the drugs store, which was a mobile shop in the downtown east side on Wednesday, a neighborhood that had been ravaged by the overdose epidemic. He said he wanted to give people a safe supply of drugs that have been tested to ensure that they didn't contain fentanyl. Vancouver police said Thursday they arrested a man for drug trafficking in connection with an illicit drug dispensary that began operating yesterday in the downtown east side. Police said they started gathering evidence after the suspect started selling cocaine, crack, methamphetamine, and heroin out of a mobile trailer parked near Main and Cordova streets.
See, he had the same problem that Walmart, Target, all them had. It was all the shipping stuff. His shipper.
It was a supply chain error.
Yeah, if his supplier would have not just ratted him out, he could have been fine.
I'm sure. We support measures aimed at improving public safety for people who use drugs, including harm reduction services and decriminalization. Constable Tanya, I believe it is Vicentin, said in a press release, however, we remain committed in our position that drug trafficking will continue to be the subject of enforcement. Police said they seized 2 vehicles, body armor, and Canadian currency as part of the ongoing investigation. They said Martin is banned from returning to the downtown east side as part of his bail conditions. They did not specify any charges against him. The store, which was parked next to a police van, had bright yellow sandwich boards featuring a price list for all the drugs, which range from how much, Bruiser, do you think, for a point, which is 1/10 of a gram of meth?
$20.
$10 only.
10, okay.
$10 for a point of meth, $250 for 2.5 grams of crack. Hey, he's getting good prices. Martin,
Fentanyl free.
That's right, fentanyl free. Martin, who wore a stab-proof vest as he sold drugs from behind a plexiglass window inside the shop, he's thinking, kids, said he wanted...
Safety first for your drug dealer.
That's right. He said he wanted to stay close to street prices, and he tried. Martin...
He's still got to make a little extra.
That's right. Martin told Vice News Wednesday that his plan was to get arrested eventually. He said he wants to launch a constitutional challenge, arguing that prohibition has created a toxic drug supply that's killing Canadians. He would allege that laws that prevent a safe supply and result in death by poisoning contravene Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and must be struck down. His lawyer, Paul Lewin, wrote a letter to Martin's potential business partners. Martin already has a cannabis trafficking conviction, so it's not the first time he's done this. Martin said he was partially inspired to open the store by his stepbrother, Gord Rennie, who died of a drug overdose last year. Rennie was interviewed in the Vice News Tonight documentary Beyond Fentanyl about his addiction to benzo dope. So there you go.
Do you think he asked for 5-star reviews on Google and Yelp?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would have been funny if that's how he got caught.
How many he got in 24 hours is beyond me, but he got
Do you think he's registered with the Better Business Bureau?
I'm sure he is, yes. You want to talk about stupid charges? I'll give you a stupid charge.
Okay.
Of all the places you think you could be arrested, Bruiser, how about the coronation of King Charles III?
Well, I watched it on TV. I don't know why, but I did.
I saw a little bit of it as well when I was up at KNSI. But then, what do you think you could be arrested for?
Oh, I know you told me off air what it is, but if you didn't tell me what it was, and I'm just thinking public nudity, public drunkenness.
You would
think.
Yeah, celebrating.
Or assault.
Celebrating in an unruly manner.
Yeah. Flipping cars, lighting stuff on fire, like the British always do when their football games happen.
Right. Well, believe it or not, you could have been arrested over this past weekend for interfering with the coronation by throwing eggs. More so, not just only throwing eggs, Bruiser, but possessing them.
That's a very expensive crime because not only do you have to pay whatever you get arrested for, but egg prices right now are through the roof.
Yeah, they are. A protester who threw eggs at the king was detained at coronation on suspicion of carrying eggs. That he might have had them. Footage shared on social media showed that 23-year-old Patrick Thelwell was shouting as he was detained by officers near, I believe this is Trafalgar Square, while King Charles's coronation took place. A protester who famously threw eggs at the king says he was arrested on suspicion of carrying eggs during King Charles's coronation. He didn't even have them on him.
You think that what he was yelling was, let it not be scrambled. Our king is a yoke.
That's right. Oh,
Don't
God.
let me get beat. This is not over easy. There is a sunny side up to this.
You're going to get a job as the dad joke stand-up of the year, I'm sure, at some comedy club.
I hope so.
Yeah. 23-year-old Patrick Thelwell tweeted footage which shows him shouting, "This is fascism," as he was detained by officers near Trafalgar Square and claimed he was searched for eggs, but he said officers found nothing in his possession and he was released. Mr. Thelwell was handed a 12-month community order with 100 hours of unpaid work after being found guilty of threatening behavior last month. He was also ordered to pay costs of £600 and a £114 surcharge for hurling eggs at the king in York in November.
That's the cost of the eggs.
Yeah, it is. Mr. Thelwell tweeted on Saturday, "Today I was arrested at the coronation on suspicion of carrying eggs. I was identified by facial recognition cameras and snatched from the protest in handcuffs so tight they cut my skin. For the second time, I was dragged through a crowd of monarchists baying for my blood. I was searched, and when they found nothing, I was released after half an hour. The police had to escort me back through the monarchist crowds because so many people were assaulting me."
They were throwing eggs at me. I don't know why.
Met Police told Mirror Online the force was aware of reports of a man that had been arrested and searched for suspicion of carrying eggs, but a spokesperson said it was unclear at this stage whether he was arrested or detained on purposes of a search. In instances of the latter, citizens are not arrested but searched for items and allowed back on their way rather than de-arrested or released. Speaking this week, Mr. Thelwell said Met Police tried to ban him from attending the coronation, but he turned up anyway. There you go. We have just a couple more stories here. This fraudster, we're going back to Florida, ladies and gentlemen. This fraudster targeted James Bond during his crime spree in Miami-Dade.
Oh, perfect person to target.
That's right. A fraudster named James Bond, not the British secret agent working for MI6 under the codename 007, but the real holder of a Truist bank account, according to the Miami-Dade Police Department. Detectives said Austin Elijah Swope went on an organized crime spree that started a few weeks after he celebrated his 22nd birthday and included months of bank heists, according to police. Swope used stolen information on fake identifications to be able to withdraw cash out of legitimate bank accounts that did not belong to him, according to police. Swope, who is 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighs over 200 pounds, and was at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center. Hey, that sounds familiar. On Thursday afternoon in Miami-Dade County, records show. Swope was facing charges in 3 open cases that prosecutors filed in January, April, and May, and he had an arraignment hearing scheduled for May 15th. Swope's most recent arrest was on Monday at Loxahatchee, an unincorporated rural community in Palm Beach County. Deputies extradited him to Miami-Dade, where correctional officers booked him at about 10:25 a.m. on Wednesday. Detective Jeffrey Brito was able to get a Miami-Dade warrant on April 27th for Swope's arrest for 2 bank fraud cases. Swope already had a January credit card fraud case pending in Miami-Dade. Brian Weishans, Truist's financial crimes senior investigator, had already provided Brito with surveillance photos showing Swope's distinct tattoos and long hair, according to the warrant. Truist reimbursed 2 victims $50,000 after Swope used a fake North Carolina driver's license to make 6 withdrawals in 5 days at Truist in 3 Lakes. The alleged withdrawals were $5,500 on December 2nd, $12,000 on December 3rd, $6,500 and $8,000 on December 5th, $8,500 on December 6th, and $9,500 on December 7th. And you wonder why he didn't get away with it.
The real James Bond would have gotten away with it.
That's right. Swope defrauded Bond in November in Miami-Dade, according to police. The alleged 2 withdrawals of $2,700 from Bond's Truist bank account were on November 22nd and November 26th at the branch in Doral. Miami-Dade Circuit Judge Teresa Pooler is presiding over Swope's 3 pending cases, court records show. In the open May 4th case, Swope was facing charges of organized fraud, grand theft, 2 counts of uttering forged instruments, and fraudulent use of personal identification information. In the open April 27th case, Swope was facing 6 counts of uttering forged instrument, organized fraud, grand theft, and fraudulent use of personal identification. He has all these cases open. I'm going to show you a picture of him real quick, Bruiser. You tell me, do you get Jeff Hardy vibes off of this guy?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah.
Who would think he's James Bond?
Nobody. I wouldn't look at him and think James Bond.
No,
that's for sure. Okay, Bruiser, I promised you a smelly ending to this whole deal.
Yeah.
Here it is. Are you ready for this? No charges as of yet to this story, but definitely an interesting ending to Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals today. A prankster sent students to the hospital and shut down his school after using fart spray. We're going to tell you the interesting way he used it.
Good for him. Bravo, sir.
Not trying to give kids an idea out there, but a Texas high school student sent 6 of his peers to the hospital last week after deploying an intensely putrid fart spray, fire officials announced on Friday. The student fessed up to the foul prank after fire officials and hazardous response teams spent 3 days investigating reports of a smell of gas at Caney Creek High School, located roughly 45 miles north of Houston. A student confessed to bringing a highly concentrated prank stink spray called Hansgott fart spray. I think it's German.
I think so too.
Yeah. The Caney Creek Fire and Rescue Squad said. The odor was initially detected on Wednesday, prompting a swift evacuation of all students. First responders scoured the building with gas detection equipment, but were unable to locate any signs of leaks. Oh, God, that's horrible. Students returned to class the following day in spite of the lingering odor, which had to be horrible.
Oh.
That day, 6 students were hospitalized after suffering severe headaches from the smell, that according to Caney Creek Fire Chief Raymond Flannelly. At least 8 others reportedly started feeling ill from the smell. The school was forced to shut down classes for the remainder of the week despite fire officials confirming the safety of the air quality in the building. In other words, it was just fine. It was just the stink.
Yep, it was just too stinky.
The trickster finally confessed Friday to using the fart spray, advertised as a gag toy that creates a smell like real poo and fake vomit. The teenager
together?
Together, yeah. The teenager likely wasn't acting alone, school administrators theorize. In an email obtained by People magazine, Caney Creek High School principal Jeff Stichler promised parents the school district is working with the district attorney's office and will address it to the fullest extent of the student code of conduct and the laws of the state of Texas. So they're going to bring out some swift justice. That's for sure.
We're going to bring that air freshener.
That's right. You know who's going to step in and is going to clean up the school. I bet you to the tune of some sponsorship.
Who's that?
Febreze. You watch. I'll guarantee you that.
You got asshole kids in your class that use fake fart spray?
Febreze.
Febreze.
That's right. Febreze that stink out. That's for sure. Tomorrow on the show, it is Supernatural News Wednesday. We've got more exciting stories for you, and we've got some funny stuff as well. So we've got that tomorrow for you on the show, and then this coming Thursday, a little bit of a surprise for you. A little bit of an old friend stopping by, so we'll tell you more about that on tomorrow's show.
Nice.
But that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for joining us today for Ripped from the Headlines and Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Join us tomorrow for Supernatural News right here on Darkness Radio. Thank you again for joining us for the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday.